Okay, we have another game, and a strong opponent, 2300 rated. Let's go with e4. Caro Kann defense. Let's go with the Euwe attack. It is a dubious opening, but against unsuspecting opponents, it actually works quite well. When they allow you to pin this knight and take with the bishop and take like this, now we just play queen to e2. And we prime for castling long. If he pushes the a pawn, that's not a problem because I have a4. So knight to g2. And now if he takes, taking is the best move. That is actually not good, but very few people know that, which is precisely why I played the system. If he takes the knight, I just get a very strong bishop on this diagonal. So normally taking this knight is a bad idea. And of course, h3, h4 is coming with h5, trapping the bishop. The problem is if he takes and I take with the queen, he cannot take on g4 because there's a checkmate on g7. Here we're gonna take with the queen. And now he can go for a queen exchange, but how good is that? Yeah, of course. I'm not going to exchange queens here. We are just gonna go with the h4, h5 plan. He wants to push. Interesting. But let's do this. Let's actually stop the push of the e5 pawn, or the pawn to e5. We don't want that. The queen is under attack. I think queen to b4 is the best move, as weird as it looks. I wonder if I should... Yeah, this needs to be played. Or do I castle first? Should I castle first? What is he going to do? He's gonna push h5, I push h4, and that's fine. Yeah? c5, c4 doesn't work because I take, and if he takes, I take with the knight. Let's castle here. Connect the rooks. We can put a rook on. Okay, but now he can push. Okay, so it was a good idea that I actually castled here. Yeah, if the bishop moves, he plays a e5. How bad is that? That is the question. Do I have my kingside attack in that case? Most likely. The problem is I probably don't benefit anything from playing f4. Yeah, let's consolidate. This bishop is still very strong on this diagonal. It's unopposed basically, so let's threaten trapping this bishop. He wants to run, that's okay. That does provoke some weakening though. So how do we... Okay, now the problem is he cannot push e4, which is good. Now that the bishop is on f7 though, the c5, c4 plan might actually work. Let's see. I'm tempted to play king to b1, a prophylactic move. Although I don't know exactly why. Queen to f4, bishop to e6. I need to go back. What have I accomplished? Probably nothing. But I do want to push f4 at some point. So, but if I push f4, after the queen is here, the queen gets trapped. So that's probably not a good idea. At the same time, this pawn needs to stay defended because the queen is attacking it. Okay, let's do it like this in that case. We're getting out of the pin. We can push safely f4 without having to worry about the queen. At the same time, I'm protecting the pawn here. So the question is, what does it do now? I think you should go... Yeah, okay. I think you should go with the c5, c4 plan maybe. I might be quicker in that case because I am creating tension first. c5, f4, he's the one that needs to think about whether to take or not. And I can probably survive if I allow him to take on b3 because I have knight takes b3, yeah. So let's go for it. It's very double-edged. It's very unclear. And now this is actually very good because if he pushes c4, I take, he takes, I take with the knight, he takes with the bishop, I take with the queen with a check. And I think his king is weaker. Yeah, for that reason he wants to put another piece there. 1 minute 42 seconds. Yeah, I think I should just exchange rooks here. I think that's a very good idea. And then at some point I have rook to e7. For example, if he takes, I take, he pushes here, I have rook to e7. If he doesn't take and he pushes first, I take, he has to take with the rook. If he takes with the rook, then we go back to the position where I have the last strike on c4 with a check. So that's actually very good for me. Slightly down on time. Wants to exchange queens. Okay, I take, he takes, I take, bishop takes, rook to e1. King here. He's probably fine. I want to play for a win here. Actually, why not? Why not play this? This is actually a very good move, attacking. Yeah, just take. If he plays c4, just take the rook. We're okay here. Yeah, okay. Now what, though? Let's try this. "41 seconds. I'm again down on time, and there's no clear winning plan for either side here. Okay, let's move away. I will probably sacrifice the pawn at some point, but now the time is not ripe yet. Yeah, it takes with the pawn. Can he pin me? 31 seconds. It's not looking good, is it? "25 seconds. I cannot take, unfortunately, because I am pinned. But it's not easy to attack this pawn. Okay. I can take here. Takes here, just go here, right? Threatening to take on f6. He has to take with the rook here. Let's try this. His rook is pinned. He can take with the rook. Let's try this. Last resort. 12 seconds. Let's try this. 9 seconds. He has 22. Yeah, we have to grovel here for 16 seconds. Nah, this is not good. But anyway, I have to keep giving checks, I guess. Two seconds. Let's pre-move everything. Yes! So let's look at the analysis in this game. The Euwe Attack is my main weapon against the Caro Kann, and I have a very, very good positive score against it. It doesn't seem that the black player is aware of the practical difficulties arising from allowing the knight on c6 to be captured in this way, because they simply don't know that after the a4 move you can castle relatively safe on the queen side and just crush them with a pawn storm on the king side, as should have happened in this game. At some point in the opening, the computer might give a small plus for black, but that is well worth the trouble given the very strong kingside attack that you normally have in this opening. So with best play, perhaps black can even be better, but that is not what my experience shows in this opening, and I would highly recommend it. At least as a secondary way to play against the Caro, if you want to try something new out. And you learn the positions and the typical ways to attack on the king side, you will be rewarded with many rating points, as I have been. So let's see what's happening here. Black captures on e5 because they don't want to have to deal with h4, h5. And what they normally do here is they don't capture this knight. They play something like queen c7. And by the time they realize that capturing the bishop doesn't do anything because you take back with the bishop and a tempo on the queen, they actually lose the bishop on g6. So that is what normally happens. And I've won many games like this, even against 2300 opponents, even 2400 opponents. So here I decided not to exchange queens, because I've had so many successful attacks on the king side here that I know how important the queen is. But the computer gives that the exchange on b8 is also an option, but keeping queens on the board is the better option, as I thought during the game. So I did the right thing here. And yeah, moving a piece twice in the opening is generally not a good idea. But I thought that this somehow gives me the time to castle, and it doesn't let him play e5 immediately. And black is normally okay after this move. Now I have a huge plus here, because these pawns are coming very quick, and at the same time there's this illusion that the black player normally has here, that they can attack with the a pawn, which never actually happens, and they get stopped by a4. But you have to be extremely careful, because they also hope for the c5 c4 push. But if you have enough pieces defending the c4 square, you will be fine, because your pawn storm is coming first. So another thing to note in this opening, e5 h4 is correct. And now here I took the wrong decision during the game. Basically this is just completely winning. If you play g5, f takes g, queen g4, and that is simply crushing, because after this the computer even gives bishop takes d3, but I don't think any human would play like this here. And now you just get a winning advantage. It's that simple playing this opening, guys. So I highly recommend it. The rook is under attack, so defending the rook, and now you just amplify the attack. And black's pawn storm is nowhere at this stage, and I don't think it ever will be. The computer suggests some defensive moves here, but we can simply add fuel to the fire by bringing more pieces into the attack. So d4, shutting the bishop out, is the best way to go, but then you can still create dark square weaknesses here. Knight h4 threatening to take on g6, and this is just completely crushing basically. Black can only defend, and I don't think that this defense leads to anything. After this you just have this, and this is completely winning. If he doesn't push e4, let's see what happens after c5, and you still have f5, and this is completely winning. So this is what I should have done during the game, but I went with this inferior option of h5, and then he managed to defend the king relatively easy after h5, unfortunately. And here was a bit of an uphill struggle until the end. Even though there must have been some way, yeah, okay, so this is actually equalizing. I thought that I simply cannot take on c4 because of the spoiled pawn structure. But let's analyze this. Knight takes, bishop takes, and then you have this intermediate move. And due to the reduced material, this fractured pawn structure is not so dangerous anymore. And the computer give this as equal. I mean, I understand that from a practical point of view, this is difficult to play, but it is much better than what I did in the game. So this is what I should have gone for. Not an easy decision given the amount of time remaining. So naturally I did not see that, and we got into this time scramble, and all in all this was an ugly win on time, but what can I do? Those were the means at my disposal, so I had to use them to the best of my ability. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.